good morning, good afternoon. Welcome to another edition of Chopping It Up with Ramel. No notes, straight from the throat. Hey, listen, before I get started, I just want to appreciate all those that continue to support me and that's constantly tuning in. I've been getting a lot of texts and comments. I really appreciate it, but we're going to get right into it. Listen, if you didn't enjoy college football prior to last night, you're probably going to enjoy it going further if you got a chance to watch one of the most epic performances in college football history. And even if you're an Alabama fan and you're disappointed that your team did not win, you have to, as a college football fan, you have to give credit and homage to the outstanding play of Clemson Tigers and especially their quarterback, their prized possession, Deshaun Watson. What a performance. This game had Alabama running away with it early. It had it. That's all I saw. Early on, I didn't think Clemson would have a chance, and they never quit. They never gave up. They fought. They stuck together. They stuck with the game plan, and what a game, what a finish it was. Deshaun Watson and Clemson lost to this Alabama team last year, this time in the same national title game. He had a game for the ages. He threw over 400 yards then, and what he does last night, he throws again for another 400 yards. This is incredible by this gentleman. 2 national title games, and he throws for over 800 yards. Outstanding. And they have him listed as the number 3 quarterback in the draft. Who's doing these mock drafts? But that's fine with me because he can fall into the lap of my New York Jets, who needs a quarterback. And this is the guy I want to see in the Big Apple, being picked number 6 in the first round by the New York Jets, Deshaun Watson. Listen, guys, he was down in the fourth quarter. They was trailing at halftime. I don't think Alabama's ever given up a lead at halftime under the Nick Saban era. And he outscores Alabama 21-7 in the fourth quarter. And it's just impressive drives. Finding his receivers. He had 3 receivers. He had Renfro. He had Leggett. And he had Mike Williams. Mike Williams, who probably will be the first wide receiver picked in the draft. They all had over 90 yards of catches. Over 90 yards apiece. I believe Renfro led him with 10 catches. Leggett had 8. Mike Williams had 7. I think it was something like 95, 94, and 94 yards each. What a performance. What a performance by this guy, Deshaun Watson, to go up against the big Alabama. I mean, Alabama played great ball. Don't get me wrong. Maybe the game might have been a little bit different if Scarborough didn't get hurt, or maybe so. Clemson did lose a defensive player as well. Alabama uncharacteristically had a couple of penalties towards the end. Hey, this is all part of the game. But this Deshaun Watson, not only did he use his legs, he used his arm. And again, he threw for 420 yards. Threw 3 touchdowns, ran for about 40 yards, ran for a touchdown. Only thing he didn't do was tackle. What a performance by the Clemson Tigers to go ahead and beat the number 1 team in the country, avenge the loss to the same team last year this time. This is epic. This is epic. I'm sitting there watching it unfold. They went up late in the fourth quarter, and Alabama is cool as the other side of the pillow, cool as a fan. Shout out to Stuart Scott. Cooler to the other side of the pillow. They come back, led by their freshman quarterback, made a couple of plays. He seen it open. He seen a crease. He ran, looked like he ran for about 30 yards for a touchdown to take the lead with just 2 minutes and 7 seconds to go. 2 timeouts, Clemson. And, you know, I'm saying this is more than enough time, but it didn't dawn on me. This is not the NFL. You don't have a 2-minute warning timeout. But what this guy, Deshaun Watson, did is going to make him special on Sunday afternoons, guys. No doubt in my mind. I'm looking at this, and it was just a tremendous effort. Just a tremendous effort. He didn't seem like the spotlight was too big for him. He didn't seem like he was rattled. He knew it was all on him. They had a running back by the name of Goldman. He really didn't do anything special to offset what Deshaun Watson can do. The play action fake wasn't really that great for them because it wasn't like Goldman was running all over the place. So it really came down to Deshaun Watson, and he took the challenge. Yes, he took the challenge, and what a challenge it was, guys. Deshaun Watson, in my estimation, should be the first pick in the draft. No doubt about it. This is not a fluke. He's been invited to the Heisman Trophy room 2 years in a row. He's gone to back-to-back national title games. He lost last year. He wins this year. Both games throws over 400 yards. That's 800 yards thrown in 2 games. 800 yards and more. Outstanding. There's no reason why this gentleman cannot be a factor and be playing steady on Sunday afternoon. And as I looked at a mock draft early this morning, about 1 o'clock this morning, they had him as the third quarterback being drafted. In fact, they had the guy from North Carolina, the quarterback, don't know his name, and the quarterback for Notre Dame going before Deshaun Watson. And they had him falling in the lap of the New York Jets at number 6. Personally, the Jets need to trade up for him. They should not sit around and wait and see if this guy falls in their lap. They should be trading with Cleveland or whoever has got those first 2 picks and try to get this guy. He's going to be a star in this league. He's going to be playing on Sunday afternoons. And what better team to play for than my New York Jets in a green and white uniform? This guy here, Deshaun Watson, cannot do any wrong. Again, he threw for over 800 yards in 2 championship title games. That is unheard of. You can't script it better. What a tremendous performance by Deshaun Watson and Clemson Tigers last night. It was one for the ages. Again, those wide receivers, not to be overlooked or overshadowed. Mike Williams, top wide receiver in the draft, came up huge. Big catches after. And just big catches. Like he's already NFL ready. You had Leggett coming up big. Again, he had 94 yards. And then you had Renfro looking like Edelman or Beasley from the Cowboys. He had 10 catches to lead them all in catches. He had 95 yards. And it's just a tremendous balanced attack, tremendous performance, a balanced attack by the receivers out there. Deshaun Watson getting everybody involved, occasionally using his feet. It was just too much for them. Too much for them. Too much for them. Alabama, a tip you had to. You played a well-fought game. Maybe if Scarborough doesn't get hurt, you guys win this game. Maybe if there's no penalties, you guys win this game. But the night belonged to Clemson, to the head coach, and to Deshaun Watson. A tremendous ending to college football. A tremendous ending to college football. I'm excited for the upcoming draft because I see some players out there that my teams can use. The Jets can use Deshaun Watson. The Eagles should try to move up and get Mike Williams because they need a wide receiver. They just fired their wide receiver coach yesterday. They need wide receivers. I think it was unfair for him to be fired because they don't have any wide receivers. But the Philly should be looking at Mike Williams. This guy, if you put him in his vicinity, he goes up and gets it. He goes up and gets it. What a performance last night by those guys in Clemson Tigers. I got to give a lot of credit to that team. They hung in there. They throughout the game, they often look overmatched. But you know what? Unity, chemistry, and belief, sometimes that can propel you, even if you're not the most talented. Even if you are the underdog. It can propel you. And I think staying the course, staying together, and believing together, I believe this is what propelled this Clemson team against the mighty Alabama Crimson Tide. Again, what an epic finish to a college season. Epic finish. We got the games coming up this weekend. I'm excited. I'm off Sunday. I get a chance to watch playoff football. I'm looking forward to this. I already got my predictions. I think that New England is going to roll. They're going to roll past Houston. That's going to be an easy win. I like the Falcons to upset Seattle. Well, to beat Seattle. Not upset, I'm sorry. To beat Seattle. I like Cowboys to derail that train of Green Bay. And I like Pittsburgh as the only road team to go in there and win this weekend in Kansas City. I think Kansas City is a phenomenal team, phenomenal story. But I just don't trust Alex Smith. I don't think he can win a game. And if Big Ben is 85% healthy, that's much better than Alex Smith. I really believe that Pittsburgh is going to come out strong. Pittsburgh's defense has gotten better in these last couple of weeks. They don't look like the team that started the season. They're believing in themselves. They're gelling. Mike Tomlin got them playing above themselves. I believe that they're going to win on the road. And again, Houston they're not going to be a match for New England and the Cowboys. I just think that their recipe is going to be mistake-free ball, and they're going to run the ball. Time of possession is going to be the key to them. So I look for them to have a win at home. And Atlanta and Seattle, that's the one game that can really go either way. I believe that if Seattle can establish the run game with Thomas Rawls, because the key to beating Atlanta is just to keep that offense off the field. But in an event that running game is suspect for Seattle, this one, Atlanta should win pretty easily. But Seattle is battle-tested. But I'm going to go with the home team, Atlanta. But I would not be surprised if Seattle wins this game. I would not be surprised if Seattle wins this game. I believe the only two road teams that have a chance to win is Pittsburgh and Seattle. I see Pittsburgh doing it. I don't see Seattle really doing it. I don't. But it's possible. Don't think for one chance because of what happened in the regular season up in Seattle, that a missed call by the officials and so forth. Listen, this is playoff time. This is playoff time. And Seattle is battle tested. So don't make no mistakes about it. They can go into the Georgia Dome and win a game. It can happen. It can happen. Yes, it can happen. All right, I'm going to move along to the NBA. And I'm going to start off with, first of all, I'll talk about OKC. They won against Chicago last night. Westbrook had another phenomenal game, a near triple-double. He was just one rebound short. D-Wade had a good game, but Chicago came up short. Minnesota, they took it to Dallas. Karl Anthony Towns had a huge game. So they won that game. I'm going to the New York Knicks. I'm going to tell you something. I've been a Knicks fan for years. As long as I can remember, I've been a Knicks fan. I've been through the late backcourts of Earl of Pearl and Walt Frazier. I was born for the two championships that the Knicks have, but I was really young, probably 3 and 6 years old, so I don't quite remember. But I did get a chance to see Walt Frazier and Earl of Pearl play later on in their career. I've been through who was one of my favorite players of all time as a New York Knick, Michael Ray Richardson, who they used to call Sugar. When he came to the league, he was like a baby Magic. Unfortunately, his off-the-court issues derailed his pro career, but what a phenomenal talent he was. I remember him and Ray Williams in the backcourt. It was a tremendous backcourt. They had Mike Woodson, Mike Glenn, Rory Sparrow. They had a lot of guys over there. Spencer Haywood. They had some guys over there. I remember those days. I remember when the Knicks, some people call it lucky. Some people think that they paid off the commissioner when he reached down into the draft lottery box, touched one envelope, and grabbed the next. Next thing you know, Patrick Ewing was the number 1 pick. The Knicks picked him. Dave DeBusschere pulls out a Patrick Ewing jersey from underneath his jacket. It was just something that was just made for TV. I remember those days. I remember when Rick Pitino had this team running. They were 10 deep, ran like a college team. I remember when the Knicks drafted Mark Jackson. He was Rookie of the Year. They turned around and drafted Rod Strickland the following year. I didn't understand that. Then they get rid of Mark Jackson. And then the following year, they get rid of Strickland. Didn't understand that either. I remember Bernard King, taped up fingers going through the state of Texas, dropping 50 on Houston, San Antonio, Dallas. I remember it all. I remember when Pat Riley was on ABC broadcasting games or doing like the ABC countdown and made a comment and said, this New York team, I wouldn't mind coaching them. And in a matter of moments, it seemed like at the blink of an eye, he was the coach. He brought a new era to the Garden, the bad boy era. They had a chance when Michael Jordan was suspended to win a championship, to be knocked off by Houston. Those were some great teams. They played with a lot of energy, passion. They were thugged out. I mean, you had the likes of Oakley, Mason, X-Men, Greg Anthony, Patrick Ewing. Derek Harper was a sneaky player. John Starks was just one of the most loved Knicks of all time. You just loved his story. You loved his energy. I remember it all. And then I remember in a strike-shortened season, Knicks had gutted out their roster. Pat Riley left, went to Miami, came back to the Garden. They booed him. The Knicks somehow gets Latrell Sprewell because of the choking incident. They bring in Allen Houston, Marcus Camby for Charles Oakley. I mean, I remember all of that. I remember them going to the finals, the big shot against Miami. Allen Houston, with seconds to go, most emotions he's ever shown. He drops in the basket. Knicks go on to the championship to be swept by, I believe they were swept by San Antonio. I seen it all. I seen when they brought in Marbury, Steve Francis, Isaiah Thomas. I seen it all. And don't get me wrong, I seen the bad teams. And it never stopped me from ordering League Pass. It never stopped me from watching. I'm a fan. A fan is short for fanatic. When they brought in Amari Stoudemire, I was like, okay, he started playing like an MVP. I remember that. D'Antoni had them running. When Carmelo said he wanted to come to New York, got me excited. I'm a Syracuse fan. Carmelo, as a freshman, led Syracuse to a national title. That's my guy. Bring him on. What? For Danilo, Gallinari, Wilson Chandler, these guys, they'll never be an all-star. They haven't been one. You bring this guy in. He's a future Hall of Famer. I've been through it all. I've been through the Jason Kidd's 50-win season. I've been through the 50 loss seasons. I sat there and watched the Knicks draft Porzingis, and I booed him. Who is this guy? Is this another Frederick Weiss? Did we pass up Ron Artest, currently known as Meta World Peace, for Frederick Weiss? But no, KP has surprised me. He's a future. I've seen it all. I've seen it all. But what I've never seen before is what has taken place yesterday at the Garden. And what I saw yesterday is disgraceful and distasteful. And you heard it from me first. Ramel, you heard it here first, I should say. Ramel, one of the biggest Knicks fan supporters, one of the biggest Carmelo fan supporters. It's time to blow up this team. You need to get rid of all these veterans that's making all these money. Get rid of Phil Jackson. This is horrible, despicable, disgraceful, distasteful, and is a shame on basketball. You got a guy that shows up in Derrick Rose to the shoot-around. I don't know what happened, but from the shoot-around to game time, he doesn't show up. No call, no show. I hope he's okay. We learned that he is okay. It may even be a family matter. I get that. You call into the bosses and let them know that you're not there. You got many speculating that you've been a sourpuss because you haven't been part of some of the fourth quarter games. This is unacceptable in pro basketball. You guys are not rookies. You guys are not kids. If I don't show up at work, I need to call. You should do the same. That's disrespectful to your team, to your teammate, to your bosses. You don't do that. Carmelo, this is your third ejection. The minute a game is not going your way, or you feel that the game is lost, or you can't get a win, or you're not having your way, you take the easy out by getting yourself ejected. 3 strikes, you out. I can't support babies. I can't support losers. I don't mind if you lose if the effort is there. But what I'm seeing right now, you got young children idolizing you guys, looking up to you guys, favoring what you do and want to do what you do, and this is how you perform? This is ridiculous. And it's despicable. It's horrific. I've never seen this before. This is your third ejection. Third ejection. If you don't want to play, call in sick. Call in sick. This is a disrespectful to the head coach, to the organization, and to the fans that come out to pay good money to see you, and this is what you do. And then Kyle O'Quinn, for no reason at all, takes it upon himself to do harm to Anthony Davis. Why? Because he had 40 points and 18 rebounds? Why? Because he beat you guys last week at his court, and now come to the Garden and the Pack House and take y'all out? This is not UFC. Despite it being a game, it's also a business. It's also your place of employment. It's also where you go to work at. And you guys should be a little bit more respectful. And what makes matters worse, you have children that's idolizing you guys. Yeah, idols should be children's parents. Yes, I agree with that. But if you don't think for one bit that these children look up to athletes, then you need another show. Because we was all once kids. And we all wanted to be like so-and-so. We grab a basketball, a football, a bat, and whatever we were doing with it, we named out our favorite athlete when we did it. So if we did it, these other children are going to do it. And they're looking up to these guys, and you guys are acting like sourpuss, unprofessional. Somewhat don't even deserve the attention that we give you as fans. Tuning into the games, showing up at the games. This is disgraceful. And you guys should be ashamed of yourself. And if I'm Dolan, I would fire everybody. Except for Porzingis and Jeff Hornacek. Because Jeff Hornacek is a sitting lame duck there. This is Phil. This is Phil Jackson's fault. He undermines the coach, so you don't think the players is going to undermine the coach? He enters his huddles, his practices, talking about you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to do this. He hires signs Kurt Rambis to a defensive coach. Knicks ain't stopped nobody. So if he's undermining the head coach, you don't think the players is going to undermine him? Dolan, I don't know where you are. You're not the world's greatest owner. But you need to step up and fire people as of today. Derrick Rose needs to be traded. Carmelo needs to be traded. You need to gut this team out, get yourself some draft picks, and start all over. It's a horror show. No, it's a freak show at Madison Square Garden right now. As fans, we can accept losing. As long as there's effort. We can accept losing when we don't have the talent. We can accept rebuilding when it's necessary. But what we can't accept is when your star player says before the season, come to the Garden. It's going to be epic. It's going to be great. And then he puts on these performances. This is absurd and ridiculous. Something needs to be done about it, Dolan. And you're the only one that can make it happen. Before they start boycotting your product, which right now, it's not a good look. And as I said before, there's none bigger than me as a Knicks fan. None bigger than me than a Melo fan. But although this is no notes straight from the throat, it's also keeping it real, and that's the deal. The deal is, and I'm keeping it real, it's time for the big guys to go. Start with Melo, start with Rose, and while you at it, find a taker for Noah. Gut this out and start all over again. And build around Porzingis. The only two people I'll keep on the roster is Brandon Jennings and Porzingis. This is a horror show / freak show that's not getting any better. That's going to do it for Chopping It Up with Ramel. A very disappointed host today. I can accept losing, but what they're displaying is not effort. I'm not sure what it is. This is Chopping It Up with Ramel. No notes, straight from the throat. Peace and blessings. I see you guys in 24.
Chop, chop.